Welcome to the podcast, Happy and Single. I'm your host, Joseph Anderson. You can find me on Instagram at @It'sPossibleGuy. And today is episode 110, and it's entitled, Don't Be a Wallflower. Now, if you're not familiar with the term wallflower, it basically means, you guys remember when we used to go to dances at junior high or even high school, and there'd be some people that were really getting into it, and some people that were having conversations and just getting out there and asking people to dance that they wanted to dance with. And there were other people that sat on the sidelines. There were other people that literally sat against the wall, just not having a good time, but not doing anything about it. No, so often in life, it's about engagement. It's about throwing ourselves in. The more that I throw myself into life, the more that I experience joy in life. Sometimes when I go into social situations, I too feel that almost, like a little bit of discomfort and you're not sure what to say. And especially when it's somewhere you go often, like, even when I go to church, there's plenty of times that I don't remember people's names, and I almost feel bad. I mean, I actually do feel a little bit bad. But going up and throwing yourself into life, that will make a difference in your life. Simply if you just walk into a room and just immediately introduce yourself to a person. Hi, my name is. And just let it go from there. And if that's all that comes out of the conversation, well, nice to meet you. And you can move on. The other thing I've realized with conversations is it's almost like I can actually feel when a conversation's over. Well, no, I'm starting to be able to feel. It's not like I'm like, oh yes, this moment of the conversation's over. But you really can. If you pay attention, you can feel a certain energy either coming into the conversation or leaving the conversation. And this doesn't just apply when you're at social events. This applies in life. Stop waiting on the sidelines. Stop waiting for your life to just happen to you. You have to throw yourself into life. Throw yourself into the games that you want to play and get better at them. One of the things I've noticed recently, if you guys follow me on social media over at the It's Possible Guy, I have been learning a song from the Top Gun anthem, and the solo alone is just really, really fast. And because I'm not accustomed to playing that fast and, that many notes that quickly, it feels quite difficult to me. And sometimes I even wonder, what am I doing? Like, I'm not making any progress. But that's not true at all, because we do make progress. It's just sometimes so slow that we don't realize it. I mean, what are the games in life that you really want to be playing that you aren't? And why aren't you playing them? If you want to learn the guitar, why aren't you playing the guitar each day? Now, there's no judgment. Like, this is an honest question about getting curious about your life, getting curious about what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, what you want to see. Because guess what? Regardless whether we're single or married, our life is still passing by quite quickly. And if you don't decide what it is you want to do with your life, even for the short time, decide for the day what you want to throw yourself into, and then throw yourself into it. And don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Because what normally happens is we spend so much time overthinking. We overthink everything, guys, instead of just allowing ourselves to experience the life that we really want to. If you want to learn the guitar, go play the guitar. If you want to learn to write songs, start writing songs. If you want to talk to somebody, reach out to them and try and talk with them. Yes, they have the option of not answering, of rejecting you. But, I said the word rejecting you, but nobody can really reject you. They can just say no. You are the only one that can really reject yourself. And what I mean by that is if somebody tells me no, like if I ask somebody out and they say no, that's okay. If I ask somebody to do business with me and they say no, that's okay. It's when we make it about us whatever somebody says has nothing to do with you. It has to do with how they feel around you. Now, the way you can go about that is focus on making yourself the best person that you can possibly be. But stop being a wallflower. Throw yourself into the game of life. Stop worrying so much about, oh, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? Whatever you feel inspired to do, whatever you want to do, go and do it. We get so concerned about how everyone else is perceiving us. Me too. There's plenty of times I walk in and I've been told all kinds of things. I mean, I've been told that I'm, too much for people. I've been told I'm too optimistic, too energetic, and too picky with who I date. And so sometimes I carry those things around. I've been told, not to force smiles. I've been told all kinds of things. And all that equals is interference and noise in my head. Essentially more crazy leprechaun thinking, as we've talked about before. That just prevents me from being in the moment. Oh no, I don't know what to say to this person. Or sometimes I'm even, I have to say the perfect thing to this person in this moment. No, you don't. Just throw yourself in. Listen the best you can and say what you want to say. The more people that you go out and talk to, the easier it will become to talk to people. At first, when you start talking to people, you may have some noise in your head. You may have some thinking. Well, I don't have anything cool to share with those people. My life's not that cool. I mean, especially now we're just about coming on Christmas and we're about to go to family parties and family Christmases. And sometimes we carry around the thinking in our head, I'm not where I want to be. I don't have the wife and kids that I really want to have in my life. That's okay. Your life doesn't have to be wrong. And no matter what people tell you, it doesn't matter. People are always going to have their opinion for how you should live your life. The only thing that matters is you throwing yourselves in. But when we have so much thinking going on in our head, and more importantly, when we pay attention to that thinking that we have in our head, we're not of any good use to ourselves, and we're not of any good use to other people. Because we're not actually paying attention to the conversation. We're paying attention to what we think that they're thinking. Now, both of those are usually wrong. Most people are just thinking about themselves the same way we are. The same way we're thinking about, well, what will happen if I do this? What will happen if I approach that person? What will happen if they say no? The other thing coming up for me is, stop being a wallflower is also about just getting involved in your life. Wherever it is that you want to get involved. If you want to create wonderful friendships, invite people to go spend time with you. Now, some people will say yes and some people will say no. Don't worry about the ones that say no. They might just not be your people, and that's okay. But throw yourselves in. Once again, if you want to learn to sing, go take some singing lessons. Go look up some stuff on YouTube. Set a goal that you want to go after, that you're really going to work towards. And don't worry what anyone else says. It's interesting how the noise in our head works. It's like, I made a decision to learn the Top Gun anthem. Now, the solo section alone in the Top Gun anthem is very fast. It's very fast compared to what I've played before. And one of the things that I read recently is from advanced guitar people that say, don't learn advanced stuff until you're ready because it will slow down your progress. And so as I'm sitting here working on this song last night, these thoughts start to come in my head. It's like, oh no, maybe I should switch songs. I don't know. Maybe I should. I don't know. But the point is, I decided I wanted to learn that. Go learn it. Go do it. It doesn't matter what it takes. Go figure it out. A lot of times we allow ourselves to stay on the sidelines because we don't know how to play the game. But the only way you learn the game is by getting on the field. The only way you learn how to talk to people is by talking to people. The only way you learn how to play the ukulele is by playing the ukulele. The only way you learn how to play the piano is by actually playing the piano. It doesn't matter how much time you spend thinking about playing the piano in your head. It doesn't matter how much time you spend thinking about how you can't play the ukulele or piano or guitar or sing or anything that you want to do. It doesn't matter how much time you spend thinking about how you can't go create the business that you really want to create. None of that matters. This life was meant to be a giant playground, a giant arena, a giant gym, whatever analogy that you want to use. It was meant to become that. Everything is meant to teach us lessons. You just get to decide what game you're going to go play. And then you go play it. Now, as you do those things, as you begin to experiment in your life, as was an episode probably 5 or so episodes ago about just going and experimenting in life, you're going to find things you love, you're going to find things you don't. And I also recommend, making some of those experiments a little smaller and also giving yourself permission if you're playing around with an experiment that you can change it at any time you want. I've shared before how I set 7 things that I really wanted to do every single day this year, except a few that I didn't do on Sundays. And I haven't missed a single day. And if anyone else told me that they were going to do that same thing, I would tell them not to. Why? Because it actually restricts a lot of my mental freedom and my mental bandwidth. There's maybe 2 or 3 things that I want to force myself to do every day that I don't want to ever miss. But at the same time, I want to have the freedom and the ability to play whatever I want to play, to do whatever I want to do. I mean, I set the rules of this game up to be so challenging that even when I'm on vacation, even when I'm driving somewhere in the car, I will find a way to get all my stuff done. That's just what I do. That probably hasn't been super helpful in some ways, and people that have traveled with me before that we had a long road trip, they may have heard me play my guitar for 21 minutes that day in the car as we're driving. Like, we don't have to set it up that difficult. But I want to ask you a question. What is it that you desire to throw yourself into? What is it that you want to achieve in your life? Did you get any closer this year than you were before? I didn't say, did you get there? I said, did you get any closer? And I'm thinking about this old saying or little story about a little kid that throws a ball up and he's like, I'm the best hitter in the world. And he swings the bat and he misses. And he does it again. And he does it again. And then at the end, when he's throwing all these balls and missed all of them, he's like, I'm the best pitcher in all the world. We've got to stop beating ourselves up, especially at the end of the year. I want you to focus on the things that you have done, that you have thrown yourself into. But I also want to invite you to do more. When you start going to all of these Christmas parties and New Year's parties and whatever other parties you're going to go to, don't just sit there letting everyone else have a wonderful time. While it may look like everyone else feels super comfortable and happy and upbeat at all those parties, they probably have a lot of that same crazy leprechaun thinking that you do. Don't let that hold you back from having a wonderful time. If you see someone across the room that you want to talk to, go talk to them. Stop worrying so much about how it's going to go or where it's going to lead. We worry so much about how everything's going to turn out, and the truth is none of us know. We can do what we're guided, we can do what we're directed to do, but at the end of the day, we have no idea. I mean, what if you went to a party instead of looking for the girl of your dreams, to just looking for fun people to talk to? looking for people that you could have an enjoyable conversation with. Now, I'm also giving you permission to get out of conversations that you don't want to have. Like sometimes I'm having a conversation with somebody and it's an okay conversation, but it might not be my favorite. And it's okay for me to exit that conversation. Because the truth is, if I'm not going to listen anyways to what they're saying, why even bother being there? Why even bother pretending to be there? We don't have to pretend just to make people happy. Everybody around us really is doing the best they know how, given their thinking in the moment, as Sydney Banks says. And so are you. You are doing the best that you know how. But the more you throw yourself into the moment, I guess this really all does come back to just being present and throwing yourself in the moment. Now, you may be one of those people that loves to be a wallflower. I know there are some people that really just enjoy people watching. And if that's your thing, if you're enjoying sitting on the sidelines watching everybody and loving it, by all means, continue. But I would say more often than not, what happens with people that are being wallflowers is they're just allowing all of their crazy leprechaun thinking to run the show. You're gonna have crazy leprechaun thinking go through your head. And I've talked about the adversary before, and I've talked about and just telling him and his minions to go away. But the truth is, unless we want to do that every 4 seconds and also ask for God to protect us from all of that, we're going to have a lot of thinking in our head at times. It's only when it stops looking real to us that it matters. You see, we live in a world that is created by thought. The way you think about the world is the way that you see the world. Now, if the way you're seeing the world is working for you, awesome. But if it's not, what if you were willing? What if you were willing to try and experiment? Try going up and talking to some of those people that you feel are quote unquote out of your league or out of your, I don't know, insert whatever way you think somebody might be out of your league. But guys, when you just start throwing yourself into life, start throwing yourself into conversations, start throwing yourself into work, being anxiously engaged is the key to happiness. And also not paying so much attention to your thinking. You're going to have it. I believe it's Elizabeth Gilbert that talks about in one of her books. She talks about fear. And she says fear is always going to be with us. But she uses the example how fear can sit in the back seat, but it can't touch the radio. It can't give direction. It can't give advice. Usually, we make decisions based on fear, and I would even add based on discouragement. When we're not feeling very good, we make different decisions. And that's okay. Once again, you're doing the best you know how, given your thinking in the moment. So as I'm talking, what are you feeling inspired to do? What are you feeling inspired to throw yourself into? I don't know, maybe it's going and Christmas caroling to your neighbors. Since, Christmas is right around the corner if you're listening to this podcast in real time. Maybe it's going and, baking some treats for your neighbors. Maybe it's, going and taking goodies to somebody you're interested in. The best way to a guy's stomach is, or the best way to a guy's heart is his stomach, and possibly for a lot of girls as well. Show people if you want to that you're interested. Go after that person that you're interested. They can say yes, they can say no, but you'll never know if you don't. You'll never have any idea if you don't at least throw your hat in the ring. And who knows, they might be just as interested in you as you are in them. Because no matter what somebody looks like, no matter what you think they think, everybody has challenges. Everybody has doubts. Everybody has fears. Take your shot. Take the shots that you want because you only get one life. And if you're waiting for your life to get better till that point that you find the person of your dreams and marry them, you might be waiting a really long time. In your current situation, where do you want to stop being a wallflower? Where do you want to start throwing yourself more into life? Where do you want to get engaged? I mean, do you want to join some rec league sports, some recreational softball, some recreational ice hockey, some, I don't know what it is that you want to do. Do you want to join an improv place? Do you want to start acting? Do you want to start being in theater? Do you want to start writing a book? Do you want to create a business? You know what often happens, and especially if you find yourself watching TV a lot, oftentimes what you're doing is you're really enjoying their story. But you know what's funny about all the stories that we see on TV? I mean, for example, all the shows like Friends and Big Bang Theory, all those guys is just living their lives. And then they're just facing different challenges that come into their lives. And then they throw themselves into the challenge, and by the end of the 30-minute show, they've probably resolved whatever challenge they're facing. And I don't know, maybe that's one of the reasons we enjoy TV is because there's an actual resolution, whereas in our lives, sometimes we don't feel that resolution. We don't have to, though. We just have to have the faith to keep moving forward in our lives. And maybe that's also what it's about to stop being a wallflower. Is to have more faith in yourself, have more faith in your God, and move forward in the directions that you desire to move. The crazy leprechaun voice isn't the greatest of friends. But sometimes we spend way more time having conversations back and forth with the crazy leprechaun voice that tells us we're too scared to get out in the world and tells us we'll be hurt and tells us all these things. Well, has listening to the crazy leprechaun voice and sitting on the sidelines, has it made you happier or not? If it hasn't, then that's probably not really working for you. And if that's just one of its lies, think of all its other lies that it tells you. I was watching the Christmas show, Miracle on 34th Street, the old one, and there was a line in there that I really, really loved. And she says, faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to. A lot of our crazy leprechaun thinking looks disguised as common sense. It's disguised saying, hey, don't go talk to that person. They're going to turn you down. Well, they may, but you're never going to know if you don't go, if you don't find out, if you don't throw yourself into the game that you want to play. So what is it that you want to play? Where is it that you want to be more engaged in your life? Where is it that you want to stop being a wallflower? Telling you, life is so much more fun when we're not a wallflower, when we smile, when we greet people, when we get to know people. So go get to know the people around you. Go connect with them. And you're going to find a lot more fun in life. And whatever you've been inspired to do about not being a wallflower or anything whatsoever, it doesn't matter what you're inspired to do, and if it even has to do with anything I talk about in these episodes. It just matters that whatever you're inspired to do, that thing will change your life. Go do it. Now, it might just change it 1 degree, it might change it a ton of degrees. You never know. But go throw yourself into life and stop being a wallflower and do what you're inspired to do today. Now, if you've made it to this point in the podcast, I'd like to invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. I don't know how you got here, but that way, if you ever want to get back here again, it's right there for you in your subscriptions. And if you haven't already joined us, one of the really cool things that I do that's free for anyone that would like to participate is each Monday morning at 10 a.m. Arizona time, I host a group coaching call for Happy and Single. Anyone is welcome to come on, and you can even receive a little bit of one-on-one coaching time with me, depending on how many people are in the call. Now, every now and then that schedule changes, so you can go to the website happyandsingle.com to be able to look at the schedule and also to be able to find the link to the Zoom room. Now, at the same time, if you would prefer a more one-on-one type of coaching experience where you can sit down and share your hopes and dreams and just kind of the stuff going on in your world, then there's another option available for you as well. Now, the bulk of my business is actually doing one-on-one coaching. If that's something you're interested in exploring, I've got a few spots open in my coaching practice. You can just message me on Instagram at the It's Possible Guy, and we can sit down and have a chat. And it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. I've worked with people across the world. I do everything over Zoom, so it actually makes it pretty easy. Thank you guys so much again for listening. And go out and live your adventure. Thank you.